Hi, today we're going to delve into the answer to the question, why is mental health important for athletes? Athletes are often focused on their physical skills and their strength and their conditioning and don't necessarily pay the attention their mental health and their mindset is due. So today we're going to explore that in more detail. So stay tuned for that. In the first part of this video, we're going to look a little more detail about how mental health and your mindset will impact your performance. Then we're going to switch from that to the relationship aspect of mental health and how it impacts all of your relationships. And then we're going to look at its impact on injuries and overall well-being, and that overall well-being long-term as well. If you don't take care of your mental health, even while you're competing, it can have long-term consequences well beyond the time you're done competing. And lastly, we're going to take a look at a real-life example. So your mindset, your ability to manage your emotions, your mental health, has a huge impact on performance. When you are stuck in the emotion of stress and the emotion of poor mental health, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, all of these things that impact your mindset and your mental health and that connectivity decrease your ability to perform at your peak level. When you place artificial caps, whether it's emotional caps or beliefs on your abilities and your performance, you will live down to those expectations. All right? So it is impossible to perform at your peak when part of you is holding on to beliefs that are in direct contrast or contradiction to the goals that you have. And also when you're taking lots of energy to deal with unresolved negative emotions that you're holding on to, you can't utilize that energy to reach your peak performance because it's going elsewhere. So it is vitally important for your performance to address your beliefs and your emotions and your whole mindset and mental health issue. Without doing that, you'll never be able to perform to your full potential. So when you have good mental health, your relationships are going to be better. You're going to be able to deal with conflicts that come with relationships, whether it's conflicts with teammates, with family members, with loved ones, conflicts maybe because some of your friendships aren't competing with you, right? So trying to balance all those things, conflicts can arise. And when you have strong mental health, you're in a much better position to be able to deal with those. When you can learn to deal with those emotions, you can deal with those relationships so much better. And your relationships, the quality of your relationships are the most important factor in your overall happiness. So learning to be able to deal with your emotions and put those in proper perspective and to deal effectively with those, with your beliefs around what you can do, in your sports world and your relationships outside of sports and how you're going to interact with your teammates. All of those things are all connected and vitally important for your overall, not just performance, but your well-being going forward. Your well-being is connected by quality of your relationships, your mindset, your mental health, right? And that's going to impact your physical illness rate, your sickness rate, your injury rate. Your mental health, actually, if you experience anxiety, according to an NCAA study, you are 2.1 times more likely to get injured, all right? People who are not feeling good mentally, emotionally, tend to get sicker more often. None of this should be a surprise to you. It's one, I think we know it experientially. Two, the research is pretty out there as far as like it's readily available that your mental health and your ability to properly manage those emotions has a tremendous impact on how healthy you will be. And when you are healthier, you will perform better, right? Your relationships will be better. All those things, they're all interconnected. They all work together. So lots of times athletes, particularly you'll see this with professional athletes who for years have tried to maintain their peak body, keeping their mind focused and all that. And then outside of that activity itself, they haven't necessarily dealt with all the emotions in a particularly healthy way, and they will fall prey to drug use, alcohol use, violence sometimes. The relationships can all suffer. And if they aren't dealing with all those emotions healthily while they're playing, long term, it can have long-term serious health impacts, right? So the holding on to all the stress that you might be feeling while you're competing, or that intensity, always trying to be intense. If you haven't dealt with that properly, things like heart disease and cancer and other, quote, old age diseases can begin to wreak havoc on you at younger and younger ages. So the long-term health benefits of properly managing your mental health are crucial. For a real-life example, let's look at DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan grew up in California in a crime-ridden, tough area, lots of gangs, all that. Basketball became his escape. He went to the University of Southern California, where he excelled at basketball. In 2009, he was drafted by the Toronto Raptors, where he began a very successful career. By 2018, he had posted on a social media channel about his struggles with depression, and that kind of brought forth and brought out into the public eye the struggles that he had. And in that whole process, he talked about the pressures of being under the microscope and the public eye, being a professional athlete and always having to be at your best, performing, and all eyes are always on you, right? Social media, all these other kinds of things where there's really kind of no escape from the public aspect, and how that can weigh on your mental health. In his case, his battle with depression. And like others before him, he, coming forward, really helped bring it to public light, started helping him get the help that he needed to be able to properly address the emotions and his experiences and all those things, so that he could not just perform to the best of his ability, but manage those relationships and manage his life and his health much better. So there's a real life example of a professional athlete who struggled and needed that shift in that mindset and that mindset work in order to be able to properly deal with his mental health. I invite you to subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos. In particular, you might want to check out the video, How to Help Athletes with Their Mental Health. Just check out that video today.